So welcome everybody to the 74th anniversary of Baba's first Life Circular. First of 71 Life Circulars from February 6th, 1952 to January 15th, 1969. And we will be reading 4 of the early circulars, including the first called Mononash, which is Baba's reflections on what he achieved through completing Mononash. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. Not questions, but reflections on what we read. Just raise your hand and we'll call on each person. Thanks so much. So we will begin now with the first Life Circular. Life Circular number 1. Mononash, issued on February 6, 1952, from Marazad. God is everywhere and does everything. God is within us and knows everything. God is without us and sees everything. God is beyond us and is everything. The one all-pervading, all-comprehending, all-powerful God, who is the self of ourselves, and besides whom nothing is real, has helped me and guided me during the Mononash period of my work, and now makes me dictate to you the following.
To try to understand with the mind that which the mind can never understand is futile, and to try to express by sounds of language and in form of words the transcendental state of the soul is even more futile. All that can be said and has been said and will be said by those who live and experience that state is that when the false self is lost, the real self is found. That the birth of the real can only follow the death of the false, and that dying to ourselves, the true death which ends all dying, is the only way to perpetual life. This means that when the mind with its satellites, desires, cravings, longings, is completely consumed by the fire of divine love, then the infinite, indestructible, indivisible, eternal self is manifested. This is Mononash, the annihilation of the false, limited, miserable, ignorant, destructible I, to be replaced by the real I, the eternal possessor of infinite knowledge, love, power, peace, bliss, and glory in its unchangeable existence. Mononash, which is bound to result in this glorious state, when plurality goes and unity comes, ignorance goes and knowledge comes, binding goes and freedom comes. We are all permanently lodged in this shoreless ocean of infinite knowledge, and yet are infinitely ignorant of it until the mind, which is the source of this ignorance, vanishes forever. For ignorance ceases to exist when the mind ceases to exist.
Unless and until ignorance is removed and knowledge is gained, the knowledge whereby the divine life is experienced and lived, everything pertaining to the spiritual seems paradoxical. God, whom we do not see, we say is real. The world that we do see, we say is false. An experience that exists for us does not really exist, and what does not exist for us really exists. We must lose ourselves in order to find ourselves. Thus, loss is gain. We must die to ourselves to live in God. Thus, death means life. We must become completely void inside to be completely possessed by God. Thus, complete emptiness means absolute fullness. We must become naked of selfhood by possessing nothing, so as to be absorbed in the infinity of God. Thus, nothing means everything.
For these last 4 months, according to ordinary human standards, and by ways and means known to me, I have tried my utmost for the achievement of mononash, and I can say in all truth that I feel satisfied with work done. This satisfaction is due to the feeling I have of having regained my old life Meher Baba state, yet retaining my new life ordinary state. I have regained the knowledge, strength, and greatness that I had in the old life, and retained the ignorance, weaknesses, and humility of the new life. This union of the old and new life states has given birth to life, life that is eternally old and new. Life for me now means 1, free and obligationless life. 2, life of a master in giving orders, and that of a servant in all humility. 3, the feeling of absolute conviction that we are all eternally one, indivisible, and infinite in essence, and with it a feeling of separateness from the real omnipresent self through ignorance. 4, life of God in essence, and that of man in actions. 5, life of strength, born of inherent knowledge of oneness, and of weakness born of binding desires.
My efforts for mononash have been positive, and the result of mononash will be positive. But the actual and concrete manifestation of this result, I leave entirely to the divine sanction. Where, how, and when the result will be, I leave entirely to the divine decree. It may be at any moment, hour, month, year, or age. It may be in any part of the world, either in the east or in the west, in the north or in the south. Yet, in effect, will embrace all four. It may be under any and all circumstances. I feel that it will be a sudden coming and a becoming of the essence of all love, unity, realization, revelation, and illumination in its varying degrees, for me and for all those connected with me.
During my work of Manunash, the 4 companions who were with me, as also others who were near or away from me, have helped me to their utmost limit. All along my Manunash period, I have been absolutely helpless and full of weaknesses in my ordinary human state. And it can truly be said that God in his manifestation, and that the saints and the prayers of all those who love me have accomplished for me the internal work of Manunash, while the 4 companions have seen to its external aspect. I intend to go in the beginning of April of this year to the West for some months. I expect to lead a complicated free life from March 21st, a full free life from July 10th, and a fiery free life from November 15th.
From the 16th of February, I make myself free to accept gifts and as free to refuse them. From the 21st of March, anyone who wishes to come to me, to see me, and contact me may do so, but he or she must make his own arrangements as regards stay, food, etc. I might give Mass darshan when I feel it necessary or have the inclination to do so. Any reference to my old life state, which I have now regained, may be expressed verbally in my presence by anyone who wishes to do so, but I will not, in accordance with my new life standards, accept any external homage, such as bowing or touching of the feet. Although the Manunash work is done fully and completely, and the result must and will definitely come 100% to my satisfaction, I now give freedom to each and all who are connected with me to choose what manner of life they henceforth wish to live. They are free either to live with me and, of course, obey my orders, or to live away from me and obey my orders, to lead the life I tell them to lead, or to lead their own lives in any way they please. In other words, completely free from orders of any kind from me. This includes the arrangement wallas, but in their case, the only kind of freedom I cannot give them is freedom from the responsibility that they have shouldered to the end. No matter what choice he makes, everyone shall share when the real freedom comes at any moment by the grace of God.
To sum up my Manunash work in short, 1, I feel in all truth that the 4 months Manunash work has been done by me, by the help of God, to my entire satisfaction. 2, the result of this work must bear fruit sooner or later, either in the immediate present or sometime later, or in the distant future. 3, the result will bring freedom to us all, in proportion to our merits of love, faith, and service. 4, this freedom will be freedom from ignorance and will be the knowledge that we were always that we always were, are, and will be one with God. 5. This knowledge will make us realize and experience infinite love, power, bliss, and peace, which we always possessed and knew not of. Baba.
Jai Baba. I forgot to mention that all of these life messages are available on the Trust website. If you go there and look under the virtual library and click on Books by Baba, scroll down to the life messages, and you'll find all of them there. Okay, so any reflections?
Well, for me, that it may come suddenly. This big change. I don't know. That strikes me as so important. Just the work is done, and then just kind of hold on to Baba and see what happens.
The sooner the better.
The one that struck me was that when he's saying that, you know, you can continue to follow my orders or go elsewhere and not follow my orders,
Yeah.
or go wherever you choose and not follow my orders. That when he says that we will all receive the freedom in proportion to our merits of love, faith, and service, I realize that the living a life of love, faith, and service is not in order. We get to design or follow a path of love, faith, and service according to how our nature and the honest expression of who we are manifests is as in relation to being loving, faith, having faith, and giving service.
Yeah, I noticed that too. We're free to be Baba lovers in any way that we yeah naturally express ourselves. Uh, yeah.
And I think we all have something to offer in our own way.
hmm Keeping the basic, you know, the basic heart of, Baba's, keeping to his, I don't know, it's always thinking of him. He's there. But
Yeah, yeah.
And the other thing that strikes me is the beginning couplet that he gives, quatrain, I should say, that in case we start to feel overwhelmed by the challenges, he says, God is everywhere and does everything. God is within us and knows everything. God is without us and sees everything. God is beyond us and is everything. It really that's where I feel that's where he's empowering actually us to make our own choices, knowing that he is doing everything and we just need to surrender it to him. Wendy, did you want to say something?
I'm sorry. Martin just came in and I went, shh, because I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be rude there, but I did want to say something. So just to add to what you're saying here, my oldest grandson, very set in his ways, even quite young, but the reason I'm late was because I was talking to him. He was calling to wish Martin happy birthday. And we ended up talking about Mayor Baba, who he had said to me at one time when he was much younger, like he's in his mid-20s now, don't ever talk to me about that. Don't ever talk to
Oh.
me. And I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe it. So that's why I'm late, because I mean, it was just too big a gift. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Sudden change. You're
yeah,
like, wow.
I was like, what? Anyway, thank you. Sorry, I was late.
Yeah.
No, that's a
No
good
problem.
example. Wow.
It's, you know, it's like yeah, it's a real example of you never know what the next moment could bring. And the next moment could bring Baba's manifestation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I never saw that one coming, I'll tell you. Nope. I mean, we're close. It's not that we're not close, but yeah, I didn't,
So
I mean,
what
he's followed all other things that I've done, all the indigenous studies and nature and so on and so forth, but not this. And it
Wow.
was,
so what was the nature of what he was sharing? Or,
well, he was just talking about they're coming, him and his girlfriend are coming tomorrow for dinner, and we were just kind of talking about the weather and winter. And I said, I can't get up to the medicine wheel right now because it's so, deep. And then for whatever reason, Baba put in my head, ask him, ask him this question. So I did. I said, Michael, are you still not wanting me to talk to you about
Oh.
Baba and my trips to India? And he said, oh no, Grandma, I would love to hear about those. That was like, oh my God,
Wow.
oh my
It,
God.
it, it
So
was it
yeah,
was it was Baba manifesting
Oh,
yes,
through the
yes,
grandson.
really? Really?
absolutely.
so that's a
What is
Baba
it? The
coming
kid?
of age.
Nothing like a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
manifestation every now and then.
yeah, yeah. It was a
Wow.
gift. That was such a gift. It was like,
and to
oh my God.
go with your inner prompting, your intuition to ask that
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Yes,
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 That's
yes,
where the faith,
right.
faith, love, and
And,
service.
and not to keep stuck, like he said that, I'm not going to say a word again, but
yeah, yeah,
that inner prompting, that intuition,
yes,
intuition.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for letting me share. I'm
Oh,
kind of
no, thank you for sharing.
so happy.
It makes
Very
us all happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
thanks for listening. Thank
We
you.
I got to check with our relatives now.
You never know, right? Yeah, it's a different time for sure. But yeah, that's really,
Wow.
really and the lady that he's quite fond of, she's indigenous background. And
Oh,
Ah,
so it just feels like Baba kind of wove some of this stuff
ah.
just
yeah.
for a soft landing. Yeah,
Wow.
very nice.
So
Yeah.
you're going to share the stories then when they come to dinner, or did you share some? Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
tomorrow when they come, yeah, I'll just say, hey, where do you want to start here? You know,
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
after we spoil Grandpa with his cake and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We have to do that. That's only fair.
Right.
Wow.
No, it's pretty exciting. Something like that. It just, yeah, like those are gifts you can't buy in the store. They just,
You know, that brings up for me, how much being true to our own experience is consistent with what Baba's saying in this life message. He's giving us the opportunity to live our life and see him work at every moment, in every moment,
yeah,
to bring about
yeah,
um, everything drawing closer to him, because he works through everything, both the good and
yeah,
the bad and whatever. In
yeah,
this case, the good.
yeah,
Whatever it was that he had that conversation where he didn't want you to talk, that felt like
yeah,
the bad, but it set up this. So
yeah. It's just, those moments are just, he's the one that was, like I'm a big believer in the fairies and we were out one day looking for fairies and we couldn't find any. And then next time he came, he was just little, not even maybe two, if that. And he's crouched down by the garden. And I said, "What'd you see there, darling?" And he said, "I saw a fairy, Grandma."
Ah,
And I went, "Awesome. Did you say hello?" "No, I forgot."
ah.
Yeah, it's just funny though. I love kids. I have fun because
Oh,
yeah, they're not so locked in. You can have a sense of humor, or sometimes they'll just go, "No, too much, Graham," and that's okay too. But yeah, I love it. Yeah, thank you.
wow.
Mhm. Any other thoughts about it? It's a lot in this one. This is the longest one,
Yeah.
but of course it sets the conditions for the whole series of 71 life circulars that
Oh, yeah.
continue on to January of 69.
Yeah. And he's a January baby, Michael.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What does anyone else think about that? It could happen suddenly. I
Yeah.
mean,
All for
uh,
it. Simply put.
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Seems that Baba works fast. I feel like Baba's timing is almost instant. Sometimes I have to be awake to,
yeah,
to
Yeah,
go with
yeah,
it.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, as I
Things
was
that happen
thinking of,
fast can be scary, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
can be very frightening because we're not prepared for it. Even if it's something good, just
Mhm.
it's a surprise.
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's interesting the way that is, how time is, he really leaves it as an open thing from this moment to and the age. It could,
Look how fast the world is changing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really astonishing what's happening in the world. Yeah.
yeah.
it is. It's astounding is the word.
And
Yeah.
also speaking of personal choices, there's people I think are looking more to their own resources rather than looking to, the governments and organizations to.
Yeah.
We're losing faith in that kind of thing and more in our own experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I live in the country and it's like, even though we're not in the madness of the outside world all the time, we still have to go out there, obviously. But even we're feeling the importance of making, our connections stronger, given what's going out in the world right at the moment, to feel safe. Because we don't have a lot of people out here. We're pretty isolated compared to, you know, most areas. Um, so it's nice. And I don't think that's any mistake. I think
Mm.
Yeah.
we Baba's, it feels like to me like Baba is breaking down some of the, we're not all Baba lovers on this concession, we come from all different backgrounds, but
Mm.
there's this respect for one another and what we need to feel safe and heard and community. Yeah.
Yes.
Does
So
that
are
make
you
sense?
are you in Canada or are you Canadian?
Yes. Yes. I'm Canadian.
I
Yeah.
could tell by the A's.
Yeah. I forget about those.
I, I think what's so wonderful is to have connections like I feel with the group here. And I doubt I've ever met anyone in this group before, but something we have in common, I feel,
Mhm.
and it's important and refreshing
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
through
And I
Baba.
think when we come together, we find out our real faith is not different, like our beliefs. That's the
Mm,
thing that I'm becoming more and more aware of is, we talk about, who God is in their world or my world or whatever.
Mhm.
It's not miles apart at all. At least it's been
Yeah.
my experience anyway. I can't speak for
Well,
you.
I think, yes, I think we have a loving concern for each other. And it's kind of like automatic for whatever reason. With so many of Baba, so many people that I know that know of Baba. And it may not be just for Baba, but what I'm saying is this is enjoyable to me. I feel the connection and a familiarity. If nothing else, just with just being here. That may not make any sense, but I feel comfortable. Nice to meet you guys. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Nice to meet you too.
You know,
That's it.
For me, it's really an important thing now because I see, like, even in the quotes Baba world, people think very differently. And
Mhm.
and it's really taught me that with the mystical language because uh, I've been going towards it for so long, but it's 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 so slow to take that Baba would say this is a mystical language in I that is in I the experience of God. I mean, I can't interpret that any other way, and uh, when I heard that sentence come out of it, I think, oh, geez.
one of the things that struck me too in this idea of the importance of the individual and the choices was the role that Baba attributes to his lovers and those closely associated with him during Manonash, that it was through them and their faith and their work that
Well,
he was able to do what he did. So I mean, that really does say that in one sense we have the freedom to do our individual path, but by doing what we do with love, faith, and an attitude of service, we are participating somehow, to whatever degree, in that the results of Mononash, because it's really, instead of looking to him outside or looking to something outside, we're looking to our inner guidance to what we feel to do. And that's, as I say, the empowerment of the individual and the choice when instead of looking outside, we're looking to God within us to help for the guidance. If there's any other, or we can go on to the next one.
I just want to say
Go
one
ahead.
thing, Jonathan. I think you bring that up again about when Baba said, Elizabeth said, it's the center's ready for you to come, and then him saying about completing Manonash
Yeah, that's
is
the
so
last
critical.
the last one we will read is has to do with the fact that when Baba completed Manonash in Marazad in January 31st, and then announced it in the circular on February 6th. That's generally what the focus is. I had never heard in all my associations anything about Mononash connected with Mara Spiritual Center. But the last circular that we're going to read is actually a newspaper article in the Myrtle Beach News that that tells about Mononash because Baba had told Elizabeth that the reason he needed to be in seclusion for the first 2 weeks of his visit in 1952 to the center was in order to complete Mononash for the benefit of the West. So there's great significance in the fact that Baba completed Mononash, this work of his manifestation, in both in his two homes, the Marazad in the east and Mare Spiritual Center in the west. So we'll get to that article shortly about completing Mononash for the benefit of the West. Any other comments? Yeah, Wendy.
So he began Mononoke. I'm not as well read as some here. So he began that when? And
Mononash began on, same as the New Life Day, October 16th of 1951. And just prior to going on that, Elizabeth wrote him a letter saying that everything at the center, the finances for your trip, everything is prepared, and we're ready for your visit. And Baba wrote back how pleased he was of that, and then said that he needed to be in seclusion and he referred to Mononash as the period of time that he did it, which was when he started out on Mononash from Hyderabad and the Mononash cave. He said that it would be from that day, February 16th, to mid-February. And so he referred to the work that he was doing now, he needed to complete for the West then.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So now I'm going to go back to the... So this is Life Circular number 3. It was issued on February 16th, 1952 in Marazad. It was actually written on the 12th, which was Baba's birthday according to the Zoroastrian calendar. God's blessings and my love to you all on this, my first real birthday. God's blessings and my love to you all on this, my first real birthday. And a second part, oh God, today being my first real birthday, my heart expresses that the declaration of the life by me was entirely yours and by your will, because nothing happens save by your will.
All my knowledge and my ignorance, all my strength and my weakness, all my freedom and my bondage are as you have desired and decreed. This life eternal will be lived by me in conformity with your will, and every word of the declaration of the life will come to pass by your grace. Baba.
Jai Baba. That kind of puts an exclamation point on it. It really, to me, talking about it as first real birthday, when you feel it's almost saying, it's created a new point in his life in this physical advent. And he describes it just with one word, life. And what is birth is the initiation of life. And he's basically creating, to me, the conditions, this is my reflection, that instead of the focus was always in Baba's advent to the people who were connected with him, they looked to him. And he had to say, remember, I'm not this body. And but it was so manifestly easy to connect with the body, with him, that way. But here he's initiating a life where the focus shifts to our choice, our inner choice, and not his order per se. Now, people still during the 50s and, certainly were subject to orders that they had received prior and certainly weren't going to just go off and live. They were going to stay with Baba to be in his presence. And that continued into the period of the close Mandali, and particularly Mera. And now it seems that the message of the life message and the work that Baba completed during Mananash is coming to a point where we now are empowered by virtue of this life phase of Baba's life, last phase of Baba's life, and this new birth, this first real birth, because we're talking about the birth within ourselves of the experience of God. And it seems that Baba has empowered the individual to make the personal choices that facilitate in each person's unique life just to live a life of love, faith, and service according to the way they are led to do by looking within to God within, as opposed to God outside that's going to give them an order.
I think that is so well said, to find Baba within, because there's a difference between, in my opinion, finding Baba within as opposed to going by doctrine without. And to me, that, Baba said, I've come to live in the hearts of my lovers.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can't live for Baba within without a great deal of attention to Baba without. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
it's
mirror.
not one or the other.
Yeah, like when he said in the complicated free life of those, there's one thing was ultimately to surrender to God, but that's a big thing. And if you can't do there's 6 other items. Oh, we haven't gotten to that yet. We're getting to that. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. That's the next message. We'll speak to that because yes, we do still look to the outside.
And he's
Right.
given us direction.
Yeah.
So just to go away and say, I have Baba's name now, I'll go live my life as I feel like it. I don't go along with that.
Well, say that again.
It's not enough. We have to, I feel, and for me, I have to pay attention to all the indications Baba has given to how to live a life, which is paying attention to him from the outside. Then it's up to me to find the will and the inspiration and the desire to do that.
When Jonathan said love, faith, and service, that to me that encompassed the what would you say the central tent pole, the pole of our
The guideline.
and we given those guidelines, living in faith and love and service, then we perceive how to proceed. I guess based on our internal promptings. Yeah.
And also the prayers. I mean, take the prayer of repentance. What a wonderful map for how to go about one's life.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've about worn that one out. Sorry.
So, what were the 3 again? Sorry, concussion brain
Love,
again.
faith, and service.
Right. So, if I go down my timeline, I can look where those kind of fell into place. When you feel love, you have faith in those that are giving you that platform to experience it. And then the service is, from my perspective, is then you take that out there into the world because you've experienced it. So I'm just just a quick thing for me. So I lived in foster homes, got adopted, great people, grandparents all lived with us. So I experienced love in this, and then I had faith, and then I was of service because all our grandparents came and lived with us. And so we had to work to make things workable, right?
Yeah.
And that's, to me, how I can put it in my little microcosm, how I matured into, I didn't know Baba by the name of Baba at that point, but I did know God for sure. Well, as well as you can at that age, but you know what I'm saying here. So have I got the right thing
Yeah,
here?
I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
you had a substantial, in my opinion, amount of love in your life to
Yeah.
help form your life.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
did.
you know what? Maybe we know God better when we're kids before we become so intellectually dominant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
Well, in keeping with the point that Diana raised, 'cause let's go on to the next one, which is the circular number 5, which has to do with the complicated free life and what we do that has to do with the outside world. I mean, and we've talked about the making inner choices and doing that, but now circular number 5. Life Circular number 5, March 21st, 1952. I should mention that we're not going to do C because it's particulars with regard to Erich and Pendu, but we'll do the first two.
I
Today,
just wanted to say something. This is beginning to seem like a treasure map to me. Like it's a lot to even think about, for me.
Life Circular number 5. Today being the first day of my complicated free life, I feel happy to declare the following through this circular, which consists of A, clarification of life and its 3 phases, B, a message to those who believe in my life circular number 1, C, instructions to Erich and Pendu for 7 months from April 1st to the end of October 1952. A, 1. Life today finds me both strong and weak. The strength is of the conviction of knowledge and the old life Meher Baba state, while the ordinary human state of weaknesses and binding desires makes me feel utterly weak.
2. As already declared by me, I have left to God's decree and sanction the result of the Manunash work for myself and all concerned. Where, how, and when the result of this work will be, I leave entirely to the will of God. 3. During my complicated free life, full free life, and fiery free life, I, with the help of those who are ready to do so, will do the work as revealed to me under the guidance of God. I feel that in my complicated free life, binding will dominate freedom. In my full free life, freedom will dominate binding. In my fiery free life, both freedom and binding will, by the grace of God, be merged into the divine life.
B. My message today to those who love me and believe in my life is that in order to escape this cosmic illusion and to realize and attain the supreme reality, we must abide by the following. First and foremost, our complete surrender to the God-man in whom God reveals himself in his full glory, his infinite power, his unfathomable knowledge, his inexpressible bliss, and his eternal existence. Should this complete surrender not be possible, then one or some of the following, if faithfully carried out, can win the grace of God. 1. Wholehearted love for God, thirst for seeing him, longing for knowing him, and a burning desire for union with him constitutes this all-consuming love for which the lover forsakes everything, including himself. 2. Keeping constant company of saints and lovers of God and rendering them wholehearted service.
3. Guarding of the mind against temptations of lust, greed, anger, hatred, power, fame, and fault-finding. 4. Absolute and complete external renunciation, whereby one leaves everyone and everything, and in solitude devotes oneself to prayer, fasting, and meditation. 5. Living in the world and yet practicing complete internal renunciation. This means attending to all worldly duties without attachment, knowing all to be an illusion and only God to be real, carrying out one's worldly affairs with a pure heart and a clean mind, and living the life of a recluse in the midst of intense activity. 6. Selfless service. One who practices this thinks not of himself, but of the happiness of others, serves others with no thought of gain or reward, never allows the mind to be upset or disappointed, and facing all odds and difficulties cheerfully, sacrifices his welfare for the good of others. This is the life of the selfless worker. Baba, Baba.
The one that struck me there was whenever I would read about these lovers with intense burning desire for God, it seemed like I had to be that way, and I'm not that kind of, I just haven't had that experience. And to me, it was a relief to find that's one of the things. It may happen, but it doesn't have to happen. I mean, anyway. Did that help, Diana?
Help what?
Well, I mean, all those things of, living a life. How do we live a life? We have all of our experiences with what we've read about Baba, what experience we've had with the Mandali, and all our training from childhood and everything. All these things go into who we are and how we manifest, and we have to look to those still.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think I heard anything that I've heard right now, anything that I haven't heard before.
Yeah,
Baba tells us the same things over and over again, but it's very concentrated here.
yeah.
And um, yeah,
Well, I thought I had heard that you were thinking that it wasn't just a matter of looking inside and doing whatever we feel. We, in,
well, yeah, I still feel that. I mean, he gives us guidance.
yeah,
And the guidance can be internal as well, but it's that would probably be um, yeah, we get clues from without and from within, and
right.
find how we want to how we're going to navigate our life with Baba.
The, well, should we go on
I,
to the last one?
oh, sorry. Oh, just one thing,
Wendy?
sorry.
Yeah,
I think it's, for me, I just try to do my best. It's certainly have not perfected it, to work with it from both perspectives, you know, what I'm experiencing internally at that moment of whatever's happening. And then sometimes that's clearer than what's happening externally. And then sometimes it's the other way around. It's what's happening out there that connects me with the internal. That's what I got out of that. Not sure that helps or makes sense.
It makes me think of um, Baba telling Adi Kairani, he says that as Christ, I took you from sensation to reason. Reason was a perfection. Now I'm taking you from reason to intuition. I mean, it's a big jump when you think from sensation to reason, and now reason to intuition, and I think, wow, it's gonna be so wonderful to really feel intuitive. I mean, at a couple of times I felt, yeah, that was a real inner prompting that I didn't connive with my mind, but only a few times. But boy, I thought, why, Baba? Why can't I feel that like I was receiving something? Like, I mean, Narina is like a forerunner with what happened in the blue bus time. Yeah, but wow, it's gonna certainly change the world. Yeah, wow, wow. Like it did your grandchild. I mean, all of a sudden, yeah, wow, that's our world. Right.
yeah. Then that introduces the whole thing about. I remember people talking about the manifestation as people were either the gradualists or the suddenness or something like that. They would happen like that, or of course Baba put it in that first thing that it could happen suddenly. He felt it would happen suddenly, but by the same token, the manifestation you can see all the changes that are taking place and speeding up,
Yeah.
and particularly I think personally speaking, with the intuition and people looking more and more to inner leadings and inner promptings. And for me, when Baba said how important it was to be honest and natural, boy, that was a big challenge. Instead of looking outward to conventional ways of behaving and doing and this, that, and the other, you begin to look more to the inner guidance and to behave naturally and honestly. It makes life a lot simpler, I'll tell you that, than trying to live up to outside expectations that we think is the right thing to do, or and avoid the wrong thing.
I'm not sure if I've got this right, but I think on the planet there are more elderly people than there has been in a very, very long time.
Interesting.
And I wonder if that's Baba's way of, because the older ones, I don't know about you, but for myself, at this age, it's like, I don't really need your check mark, you know? And so maybe that gives us the courage to speak up when we wouldn't have spoken up before.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. That's just the
I
thought.
know it really is interesting to have, when you're in your 80s, to look back. Life makes more sense than, when you're early on trying to. But I have, in the few parents that I've talked to, and they're remarking about their children, because we often think about, well, they don't seem to relate to Baba in the same way we do and getting involved and coming to all the meetings. But they have this kind of confident independence to kind of they don't feel they have to prove anything, and they've grown up in a Baba family or whatever, and they certainly love to come to sahavas and different things like that. But pretty much they're out living their lives and relating to one another as Baba lovers, that are Baba lovers, or relating to whoever they're relating to.
Right.
They don't, our generation, we kind of had to defend Baba to our parents or something like that, in contrast to the way we were brought up. Whereas with them, it's just natural. They don't have that angst.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to hear how your dinner goes with you.
Right.
In case my concussion brain comes in, remind me if you want to know. I could just be gone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Baba.
Any other reflections? Are we on time? So shall we go to the last one that we chose?
Oh yeah.
And this is the one that is the article that was published in the Myrtle Beach News by Anton Barzlag. Not a traditional Southern name. Oh, I guess I was already there. There we go.
And it was in the newspaper May 23rd, 1952.
And that's the day before the accident.
Yeah.
And the prior Friday, he had met with Baba at a public meeting and got to interview Baba.
In the barn.
And
Was it a big meeting?
And I did find out that he was originally from Connecticut, and he was a hepatologist, if I ever read. He studied snakes. He was an expert in that. So it may have been he was down in South Carolina researching snakes, and this was a freelance, or it may be he had a job with the paper to make ends meet. I don't know that detail. But that's who Anton Barzlag is.
This is Maeterlinck, not, you said Masterlink last time, so
Oh, okay.
just.
So, so we'll read it. I'll start. Life Circular number 6 issued on July 2nd of 1952, an article in the Myrtle Beach News dated May 23rd, 1952, a Friday.
I just have to say, Baba's very practical. I mean, he used this article out of the newspaper. I mean, how practical can that be? You know?
Who Are Your Neighbors is the title. Who Are Your Neighbors, Meher Baba, by Anton Barzlag. There is a beautiful essay by Maurice Maeterlinck called Les Silences, in which the poet-philosopher expounds that in silence, man is nearest to reality, to God. We don't know each other yet, he exclaimed to a friend, because we have never dared to remain silent together. Thomas Carlyle eulogizes on silence, the great empire of silence, higher than the stars, deeper than the mystery of death. The importance
attached to silence in worship by the Quakers is well known. John Greenleaf Whittier expresses this so gracefully, yet concisely in his lovely poem, First Day Thoughts. In calm and cool and silence, once again, I find my old accustomed place among my brethren, where perchance no human tongue shall utter words. There, syllabled by silence, let me hear the still small voice which reached the prophet's ear. Read in my heart a still diviner law than Israel's leader on his tables saw.
Tablets. Oh, that should be tablets.
Oh, then
Yeah.
Israel's leader on his tablets saw.
I think I'll have to check the original article.
I agree. That's a lovely poem.
Yeah. And here is what Meher Baba, who has arrived from Pimplegowan, India, at Meher Center on the lakes in Myrtle Beach, has to say about silence. God has been everlastingly working in silence, unobserved, unheard, except by those who experience his infinite silence. If my silence cannot speak, of what avail would be speeches made by the tongue? The very moment when he thinks my speaking would be heard universally, God will make me break my silence.
Meher Baba has been in silence for many years, 27 we are told, and still is. Though he feels that he has been successful in his efforts for the achievement of Manonash, the annihilation of mind, in other words, the losing of oneself in order to find oneself, the time has not come yet to break his silence. Meher Baba leaves the manifestation of the result entirely to the divine decree. It may be at any moment, year, or age, but he feels that the result of his work must bear fruit sooner or later. It will bring freedom to us all, freedom from ignorance, and it will be the knowledge that everything is one with God, entailing infinite love, power, bliss, and peace, which we've always possessed without realizing it.
This, as far as This, as far as we gather from our smattering of the subject, is a quintessence of Meher Baba's message. It is well nigh impossible to give a clear conception of the underlying principle in a short space, especially for Western minds, not used to the Eastern religious philosophy. The oneness with the all-comprehending God is best symbolized by comparison with the sun. When the sun rays are playing on earthly objects, each ray seems to be a separate unit, whereas in reality, it is only seemingly and temporarily separated from that great source of all light, the sun.
When reading the booklet and pamphlet graciously presented to the visitors of the Meher Baba Center last Friday, those who are acquainted with the great Hindu epic Mahabharata will recollect the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita. These dialogues of Sri Krishna and Arjuna belong to the yoga writings, and the principal lesson to be drawn from the Gita is that the spiritual man needs not be a hermit, but oneness with the divine life can be achieved in the midst of worldly affairs. The impediments for that oneness are not external, but within ourselves.
Like many others, we were happy to avail ourselves of the opportunity offered to meet Meher Baba. He is a slender, dark-complexioned, mild-mannered, and simple man. Besides an extraordinary kindness in his face and bearing, we seem to detect something indefinable in his appearance, which we will call, for lack of a better word, transcendental. He seemed to sense that we would like to ask a question and motioned his hand in acquiescence. The handicap of his persistent silence was ingeniously solved by means of a small board showing an alphabet, on which Meher Baba pointed out various letters. An interpreter translated the answer in spoken words, and then the few minutes allotted to us were passed. Still, those few minutes left an impression with us. The more we pondered his answer, the more meaning we found in his words.
There are often Quaker meetings where no ministry occurs, where nobody feels moved to utter words, and frequently these constitute the most satisfactory meetings of worship. In the silence, heart flows to heart, and there is, as the old Quaker used to say, a web over the meeting. We do not know if and what ritual or service the adepts of Meher Baba practice, but it is certain that a silent meeting of worship with Baba present would be an unforgettable experience, as he potently emphasizes the need for all of us of ever-increasing communion with God. Dictated by Meher Baba at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, USA, on June 13, 1952. The personal disaster for some years foretold by me, has at last happened while crossing the American continent, causing me through facial injuries, a broken leg, and a broken arm, and much mental and physical suffering.
It was necessary that it should happen in America. God willed it so. It brings to fruition the first part of the circular, which said that until July 10th, in the complicated free life, weakness would dominate strength, and bindings would dominate freedom. But from July 10th, in my full free life, strength would dominate weakness, and freedom would dominate bindings. And then from November 15th, in my fiery free life, both strength and weakness, freedom and bindings would be consumed in the fire of divine love.
Jai Baba. I'll never forget when I first read that. I was just astounded that such a pronouncement of Baba completing Manonash during his seclusion and having, there was just, I had never heard anybody talk about that. Elizabeth knew, and some others must have known, but it seems that the physical reality of Baba's presence just was all consuming in people's experience. And that was just not important. So it was hidden in plain sight, because Baba certainly felt it was important enough to include in these life circulars. Yeah. And so it only came to light through that letter of Elizabeth discovered by Jamie and Zoll Newell in their research for a video about the history of the center in, as I recall, the end of fall of 2021. And to me, it's kind of an indication, again, of the subject of the life circulars and Baba's life phase coming into the awareness of Baba lovers with the finding of the letter and also with the pandemic, which required everybody to be in their home and look inwardly to dealing with life's circumstances.
Well, I'm glad we had this gathering because I just think it's important. I mean, just important. Yeah. And important to hear all your feelings on it. Yeah.
Well, Betty, you were going to say?
There are other life circulars. Yes, there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, did you feel that this was, the most important or significant? How come you chose?
Yeah, there's 71 of them. So it's, to me, the reason I chose these was because, there's descriptions of the fiery free life and the full free life and, what Baba did during those times. There's also, a message about his final declaration and saying that the only things that were in his language. He said some in your language, some in both, and some in my only in my language. And it identifies the two that were only in his language, and that was that he would be stabbed in the back and the three-quarters of the world. Those were, and he said about those that were in his language that we can't understand them. So there's a number of significant things that are in those. But to me, these, I was struck by these because the initial one, Mononash, sets the tone, sets the context for the whole thing. And I mean, there's one where he says that he was expecting the the word to manifest by a particular time, but he said, well, it's only partially completed, and it wasn't until 1968 that he said, that everything was completed to his satisfaction. Now, so there's room for, trying to understand more, but the import, particularly of the first one, and then the second, describing it being his first real birthday, and then for me the complicated free life being guidance as opposed to specific orders. He was really empowering the individuals to make their own choices, and then publishing that article brought it home, for the actual scope of Mononash embracing both the East and the West, and eventually leading to the East-West Gathering.
Wonderful. So you just
Oh, I just wanted to ask you, is this something that's going to be continuing?
I'll think about that. As I said, I really, for me, the real emphasis of this has been the empowerment of the individual to lead our life, and it's so everyone makes is drawn by their own experience and inclinations to follow that path, and I'm really comfortable with that. I just wanted to make it, my main thing was just the significance of Mononash and the whole idea of Baba's last, normally the Mandali and Baba world in general talks about the new life. And there were new life circulars, 30 new life circulars. But while we are aware of much of the content in the life circulars from 52 to 69, the idea that the last phase of Baba's life was his life phase is not known, I think, primarily because it wasn't emphasized by the Mandal. It wasn't emphasized by anybody other than Baba, who issued the circulars in writing and signed his circulars, And it's a powerful statement. So that's the main import of it. And because it empowers the individual, we could talk. We'll think about it.
We're running into our next meeting here. Hi, Ron.
Okay, yeah. No, that's good.
It's great.
Jonathan, I want to thank you you've done a lot of work for us on our behalf by looking, kind of finding the best and most important and I really appreciate your focus.
Baba, thanks for coming, and
And Rosalie, thank you.
74th anniversary. Avatar, Male Baba, Ki Jai.
I don't think we all have to go. I'm sure Ron might be interested a little bit if you. This meeting is very loose, and what we've been doing, Ron, is talking about Baba's.
Oh, is there another one coming up, or?
Yeah, so it's now. This is just kind of a informal get-together meeting of, but yeah, started by Huey McDonald, so it says San Francisco.
I need to stop the recording.
Oh, yes, you do.